Tell me what this deal is going on with a young, spry up-and-comer. Maybe you're familiar with him. A young man by the name of Floyd Mayweather Jr., who wants to fight a young Manuel Pacquiao.
Keep your eye on these two. I mean, they've only just started in the business, but yeah, I mean, they will fight in the second fight. I mean, the whole thing about the Mayweather comeback has been really badly handled in my view. Because first of all, there was the feeling that, well, he's coming back. He's going to go for a legitimate title here, and then he wasn't. Right. And we've got the three people that he can fight. Mike Tyson, he could fight him. We don't know if he's going to or not. We're not quite sure. It could be in the Congo. We don't quite know. And Pacquiao was the only one, because he's fighting Zambidis first, isn't he? Zambidis. He's fighting him first. And then the only one I was interested in, slightly, was the rematch with Manny Pacquiao. Now he has said, well, it'll be an exhibition fight. It won't be a legitimate fight. I don't think anybody's told Manny, and I don't think anybody's told Netflix. Now, I saw a report that they reached out to Netflix just to ask them, and they'd not replied.
Right.
But he said there will be no losers. We'll both be winners. I think he said we'll both be winners. Well, who wants to see that then? I don't want to see somebody shaking hands. Let's have a nice time. Let's have a very good no hitching in the face and no hitching below the belt, young man. It's nonsense, isn't it? And it's really badly handled, I think, by Floyd.
Well, I think he probably thinks that he can get away with this because of what we've seen in the past already with Netflix. If you're telling me at any given time that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was a real boxing fight, no. You know, that's why we had to get what we had with Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. So it's kind of they've made it easy for Floyd to say stuff like this because it's that whole whataboutism, right? Well, what about so-and-so? Well, they did it. Why can't I do it? Oh, because we learned from that how stupid it was. And sorry, maybe you should have come to us first, and then we would have learned how stupid it was with you and not let them do it. Idiots.
Do you think that the Netflix conferences go like that? Yeah, well, what about you, eh? Do they do that with that wobbly head?
Yes, I absolutely think that they do that. Have you ever gone through the list of what's on Netflix?
I have gone through the list very much, and I've done this.
So you know the decision makers are absolute nonsense.
Well, what about well, let's talk about next year's sales. Yeah, well, you talk about next year's sales. Mine are better than yours. Yeah. I think you're right, but I think this is about narrative. Okay. So the thing about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight was that it was supposed to be a proper fight. So it didn't turn out that way. It's a shocking fight, but it was supposed to be a proper fight. So by him saying early doors, it's not a proper fight, actually. He didn't say that, but the exhibition fight makes me think you're going to switch the referee out, aren't you, like you did last time? So that doesn't make me want to watch. And the narrative is the thing that really matters, I suspect, for Netflix. And he's ruined that narrative now, unless he rose back and says, I had a chat with Manny, and Manny wants it to be a proper fight, and I want it to be a proper fight, actually. So I misheard him when he said, I want a proper fight. I thought he said, I don't want a proper fight. But now I've asked him again, it will be a proper fight. We're going to see that in the next few days, surely.
You know, is this always been the problem with boxing? Is the wishy-washy bullshit that goes along with this business? You know, this is the bullshit of boxing, is when stuff like this happens. Well, don't announce it if you don't have it yet, if that's the case. And we've seen this now in another situation, Steve. What is going on with Conor Benn and Regis Prograis and this fight? Does it mean anything? What do you know?
Well, the fight, I mean, you've got problems with the fight to begin with. If you're looking to promote a fight and you say, I'm paying him $15 million, as Suffolk Boxing have, to, or rather somebody else has on behalf of Zuffa Boxing, perhaps, then you need a really big opponent, because we found out very quickly it was a one-shot deal. So we found that out quickly. And so you need somebody that you go, my God, I can't believe he's fighting him. But then they announced Regis Prograde and not even on the main event. And so it's a kind of, all right, well, just do the fight. Just do the fight. So it's not looking good anyway. It is looking more, it's allowing people like us and like me to say, I think you only did that to piss Eddie off, didn't you? Or to fire the starting gun on the zone's over here, we're over here situation. I mean, people can say that. I don't know. I'm not a journalist, but people can say that. And now what we've got is rumours of Regis Prograde saying I'm pulling out because I've been training and it's not looking good. That's the rumour. He's had to come out and say I'm fully on board with this fight. But actually, that don't look good, does it? I mean, we've already got a problem with the fight. It already looked warmed over. Now we've got this. So it's not good for Zuffa Boxing at all.
It'll be interesting to see, because obviously it's not the main event. They've got it at the co-main, right, on this Tyson fight. It'll be interesting to see what they do afterwards. And I think that this is maybe just a way for them to say, hey, we're Zuffa Boxing. We can play in this same field with all the rest of them without us having to have our own shows, just like the rest of them, right? This is His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh putting this whole thing on. So he's the one really at the end of the day that, not Dana, that everybody should be pissed with, right? And realistically, Steve, I'll go one step further. I'll go one step further on who the entire boxing world and all of y'all's uppityness should be blaming for any of this bullshit happening in boxing right now. Oscar De La Hoya is the man that you should be blaming. Because if Oscar De La Hoya didn't sell Ring Magazine to His Excellency, maybe His Excellency wouldn't be in the position that he's in now to garner such favor with all of these promotions. So yet again, Oscar fucks up the whole thing.
That's like saying we're lost and can you give me directions? Well, I wouldn't have started from here.
Well, I wouldn't have asked Oscar for directions. That's for damn sure.
Look, I mean, I understand your view, but the thing is here, I'm interested in what's going to happen afterwards as well, because we've got a kind of love story, haven't we? We've got Matchroom. I thought you were my boy. Now you've left me and you've taken all the CDs and you've changed the locks. And what Eddie Hearn has said, if reports are to be believed, and you never know, that he's trying to entice him back with an offer of a very big opponent, one Jaron Boots Ennis. So he's saying, I've got Ennis. You want to come back and fight him, Connor? Now, if it all depends what happens with Zuffa, as I said last week, I mean, are Conor Benn and Jai Opetaia your twin towers if you're Zuffa Boxing? Oh, and by the way, just to kind of talk about that, Turki Al-Sheikh and Zuffa Boxing, people do conflate the whole thing together. TKO and Salah and Turki and Zuffa and Dana, it's all together because of the narrative. That's what happens. I mean, we'd like it to be removed and separated, but it isn't. But I don't know what will happen again after, as I said last week, after this fight, whether they'll say, Jai Opetaia is my man. We know that they're sticking with Jai. But would they be sticking with Conor? Is he the man they really want to take them forward into the next few years?
So then let me ask you this, Steve. If they come to Conor Benn afterwards, if Eddie Hearn comes to him and says, you've got this fight with Boots, what are you going to offer him? What are you going to give Conor Benn for that fight?
This is the issue.
You're going to have to give him more than 15.
But are you? Because what Conor Benn has been saying is, I'm okay now for the rest of my life. I'm okay for my kids. He's earned his money. So what Eddie Hearn can do is position this by saying, Zuffa can't offer you those fights.
But he's saying that. He's saying that because he hasn't been hit with the tax man yet after leaving the United States. This is a different thing. Everybody says that because he's going to lose half of it already, right? This is going to be a silly one for him that he's going to lose in taxes on all of this stuff. I'm not saying in the United States because I think that fight is in Riyadh, isn't it? The Tyson fight, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. It's certainly
so,
yeah, right. But he's going to lose a chunk of that money, which in turn is going to make him look and say, "Hey, I need more money." This is what happened with Floyd Mayweather. You can't take belts to the bank. You can't take any of this stuff. You need to have that money. And as his family, and now his family is going to get used to this kind of money. Whoa, wife and kids are like, yo, I got nice stuff now. I need to keep having nice stuff. So, but wait, dad wants to fight for a belt instead. Yeah, dad, fuck your belt. How about that? How about fuck your belt? I need a new belt and it needs to have a Gucci logo on it. That's what it's going to come down to.
Dad, fuck your belt. There you go. Well, yes, I can understand that. But the thing is that Floyd Mayweather doesn't really care what other people think. He's done it. And he doesn't really care. He wanted the money. And he's called Money Mayweather. Conor Ben, because he started to talk again. And what he's doing is he's trying to change the narrative. All the kind of, it was terrible when I was suspended. It was awful. Tearing up in interviews. I'm not saying he's doing on purpose. He probably was very emotional. But all that kind of, I've still got love for Eddie, all of that kind of stuff. You do know, by the way, that he said that one of the reasons why, or the reason why he thought he should go to Zuffa, not for the money, but because Matchroom and Eddie refused to send his dad business class. To the fights. Hey. So, but he's trying to change that narrative. So I'm not sure whether he will, because if he says, "No, I still need the money, mate," it's going to come out, and he cares what people think. I'm not sure that Floyd does care as much. I think Conor does.
So we're at negotiating table. They win the fight. Eddie Hearn comes to him and says, "Hey, I've got a belt for you, or I've got a fight with you with Boots Ennis. There's a belt involved, and you're going to make $10 million." But now you have a contract with the people who have first right of refusal again, which is Zuffa. And Zuffa says to you, "Oh, hold on a second. We've got these 3 fights set up for you, and you're going to make 15 off of each one of these fights. And we're going to do this thing because you're going to be our face entering into the British boxing market." If you're Conor Ben, what do you take? Do you go for that belt or do you take that money deal?
That's the issue, isn't it? We've been saying that. I mean, do you take the belt, or do you do the fight that I know you love, which is the trilogy with Chris Eubank Jr. for 15 million at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Do you do that one?
This is what I'm saying. So it's going to get a lot more sticky. All of these people, trying to flex right now. It's going to get a lot more interesting before we find out what's going on. But hey, we'll be the ones to tell you right here. Steve, it is always an absolute, what do you guys say? A knocker?
A knocker?
I don't know. No, I'm trying to make up British words. What would you say? This has been an absolute what?
I'd use the word pleasure. Delight.
Oh, well, I've been watching Peaky Blinders, and they don't talk like that. I need you to start talking more like Peaky Blinders, okay?
Nobody talks like Peaky fucking Blinders. Oh. Nobody in Britain talks like Peaky Blinders. All we can do is wear the fucking hats.
Which reminds me, HR called, and we're going to need you to start wearing a hat.
I do have one like that, so well, I'll wear that next week for you.
Well, it's nice to know. It's nice to know the lesson, Steve, because I don't know. I don't come from Britain. You know what I mean? I don't know what Peaky Blinders do and what they don't do, but one thing I do know.
Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
It doesn't matter. That's universal, ladies and gentlemen. Wu-Tang is for the children. Am I right?
You sneaky mother lover. You do it every week, and it gets me every week.
Well, you know why, Steve? You keep forgetting to tuck your chin.